It says we're live streamed.
We're about to be, yeah. Boom, here we go, homie. Hey guys, welcome to the As the Leader Grows podcast. I am your host, Ken Joslin, and I have got a freaking treat for you today. I met this guy a couple weeks ago in San Diego, hanging out with some of my best friends in the world, like Gary Brecka and Randy Garn. Who else was there? Master Jeff, Brent Gove, a lot of guys in my mastermind. I met this guy in the hallway.
Pete.
Yeah, Grant was there. That's right. Grant was there. They were all there. Met this dude in the hallway and just had a conversation and was blown away at what my friend Scott Donnell is doing. So, dude, number one, welcome. Number two, take a couple minutes and tell everybody all the amazing stuff you've got going on right now.
Awesome. Well, good to be here, man. Yeah, my name's Scott Donnell. I love Jesus, and he called me to serve 1 billion people through my companies and give away $1 billion. So that's me. What else do you want to know?
I love it, dude. I absolutely love it. It's so funny. I was just on that call just a minute ago with a mutual friend, and it's just so cool to see what God's doing in the marketplace.
Yep.
Really outside the four walls of the church and what he's doing. Obviously, my background is very similar. Spent 12 of the last 25 years in full-time ministry, planning churches, pastoring churches. And then now, man, I get to spend time with some of the most amazing entrepreneurs, in our mastermind and in our community based around our core five: faith, health, relationships, business, and finances. So, dude, it's fun. Talk about what's in your heart, the thing that you were sharing with me about financial literacy and teaching kids how to be able to be good stewards and handle and manage their money well.
Okay. So yeah, I'm an entrepreneur and I solve the world's biggest problems to me. Right. So I went out and tackled the school fundraising problem, built a 600-person company that served 7 million families to raise money for schools. I tackled the mental health issue by building a biotech company that had digital therapeutics called Happy. We took it public in Toronto. We're now solving for the kind of the woke Marvel Disney world by building our own Marvel studios from scratch in Web3 called Hero Maker. But the thing you want to know is called Gravy Stack. Gravy Stack is stack your gravy. It's the financial literacy answer that everybody's been looking for their kids. So we've got a big old problem here, which is basically like there's a $2 trillion student loan crisis. There are 76% of kids graduating from high school fail a basic financial literacy test. Did you know that Gen Z is the least invested generation of all time? Like by a huge margin. And schools aren't teaching financial literacy at all. Banks do not care about kids because they have no money, and parents don't know what to teach. We have a nightmare on our hands. Wow. And so the only way to solve this is to connect banking to gaming to teach financial literacy. So what we created with Gravy Stack, that's the name of the app, right? Stack your gravy. Basically, it's a debit card for kids ages 8 to 18 with a bank account. And we reinvented banking from the ground up. So we show the flow of money. We do home gigs, not allowance. We have an inner circle to cheer them on to their families and friends. We have a save, spend, and share jar with actual investing and actual giving to any nonprofit in North America. We show them the actual flow of income and money. We teach them to earn. And then the last thing we have is a game. This game is 100 missions that they accomplish that give them complete financial independence for their future. So real life challenges, mini games, they're competing with their friends. They're learning about earning, saving, spending, sharing, investing, protecting, borrowing, or the issues of borrowing if you are going to borrow, creating value, skills, and traits. So basically they become financially literate through playing this game. That is the real drive here, because kids are only going to learn by having fun and doing something in the real world. And those are things schools don't do at all. Okay. So we have to make it super fun, and we have to make it connecting to something in the real world. So all of our missions are real world driven. They're doing real investing games, like with actual stocks. They're doing taxes in their state. What are all the taxes in your state? That's a game we created for it. We have wants versus needs games. They're actually canceling subscriptions in the home as a game. Wow. They're doing the grocery budget challenge, where they find out 4 ways to save on groceries. And the average family of our 500 beta testers has saved 26% on their grocery bill by the kids doing it, right? So there's all these games to actually make kids to be financially independent in the real world. So that's Gravy Stack. That's what we're solving.
So dude, where did that come from? Like, I mean, you're still young, dude. You're a young, sharp looking guy and you're building and selling businesses. And then the next thing you know, it's like, dude, I see this
Yep.
need, but
it came from God,
where did that
honestly.
come from? Yeah.
It honestly was a word from the Lord for me. So I am probably one of the foremost brains and minds on childhood development and education in the world right now. Okay. So my other company was Apex, the school fundraising company with 7 million families. I've watched how every kid in America learns for 10 years. Okay. So we also built the largest children's business fair program called children'sbusinessfair.org. We helped 50,000 families launch businesses on my first sale. I have all these companies that teach this to families. So I've seen how kids learn and how they don't learn for the last decade. So I've seen the transformation into the digital age. I've seen what social media is doing. I've seen what instant gratification with Amazon Prime is doing. I've seen how kids learn. Now you bring on DeFi. Oh my gosh, like goodbye cash and coins. How do you connect kids learning to the digital world? That's what we're doing now with Gravy Stack. So Gravy Stack came as like, here's how we solve for the way kids learn in today's world. And that's how Gravy Stack began. So it has to be a bank. So they actually have real money flowing through their account and real investing. And it has to be a game so that they're intrinsically motivated through fun to be a part of this, to compete with their friends, to build a resume for their future in the game, to have a leaderboards and earn grits and upgrade their avatars and beat the Weasel Greedymon, who's like the tyrant king, and free all the people from Windfall. Like that's just, it has to be fun, right?
Dude, I love that, man. How long have you been working on this project?
We are 20 months in. So we've raised about $8.5 million. We have 60 of the top strategic investors and advisors, I would say, on the planet. We have like the top authors of kids' books like Smart Not Spoiled, Chad Willardson, incredible bestseller on how to teach your kids about money. We have Spin Master invested in us. They own Paw Patrol and Rubik's Cube. They have 40 million kids in there that go to their website every month to play their games. They're just going to throw them all our way. And just a bunch of people like that, Tuttle Twins, Jim Quick, David Meltzer, Laurel Langemeyer, like all these different people in the financial literacy world. They basically took one look at us and said, you're the answer. We're throwing all our weight behind you. This is the fastest unicorn I've ever seen. And we're like 4 weeks from launch. So yeah, super exciting times.
You're a little passionate about this, just a little bit.
A little bit.
No, dude.
I have three kids. I have 3 kids, ages 6, 4, and 2. And we've got one on the way, by the way. So fourth kid coming in March. And they need this. They desperately need this, right? We interviewed 1,000 parents, and even the best parents like you and I and the entrepreneurs out there who actually understand money don't have a roadmap. We don't have a plan. Like we're like, well, hopefully we'll do like a lemonade stand or something, or we'll get them a bank account, and then maybe we'll teach them to do like the 3 jars where if you give them $10, they do save, spend, share with their piggy bank. I don't know. So there's no plan out there. So we had to create something that kids are just like fired up to do. And so, yeah, I mean, I'm doing it for selfish motives because like I've got 3, 4 kids on the one on the way. They got to learn this. So, yeah,
that was my first question I was going to ask is what are they saying about this?
Oh, they're freaking out. They're freaking out. So we got 500 families beta testing. The average family saved $547 on the subscription hunt alone in their house.
Wow.
They saved 26% on their groceries. Their kids want to play this without them pushing them to do anything. And they're telling 3 people each, which means it's a viral coefficient of 3 to 1, which in app speak is a home run. Okay.
Wow.
That means if we get 1,000 kids on, within a week and a half, we'll have 3,000. Okay. So this is a home run opportunity for us. And parents, they basically said, where have you been our whole life as parents? Because you're giving us a roadmap for our kids to take and learn the right things in the right order to be ready for the real world. They see it as like a way to future-proof their kids, And that's what, like, when I go to sleep at night, my wife, Amy, and I were like, have we done enough? Are our kids ready for the real world? What are we missing? They're not getting these things in school. Like, are they going to make it when they leave the nest? That's what every parent's kind of secretly worried about in the back of their brain. all of our parents in Big Gravy Stack, they're like, you just gave us the roadmap. So now we know we're doing the right things.
So take me back to the catalyst of this whole idea. I mean, you and your wife having a conversation, you just wake up in the middle of the night. I mean, what was I mean, you're an entrepreneur and a creator, but
yeah,
this is just different.
Yep. So this was it's a long conversation. There's a lot of people to thank for it. My wife is a big one, but basically we started this thing called My First Sale. So the idea was the pandemic hits, right? Everyone goes home from school and we're like, hey, let's create like a way to have kids create Etsy's. So we started myfirstsale.com. My wife helped, my friend Travis, a few other friends. I just threw in like $250,000. We built this website really, really fast. And it was basically kids come, they learn how to launch a small company and they make products, right? Like bookmarks or brownies or sugar scrubs or slime, I don't know. And they make their own page. We teach them the 5 Ps, product, price, profit, pitch, passion, and they figure out the right thing for them and they sell it. So it started with myfirstsale.com, where we just helped tens of thousands of families launch their own Etsy's. And that's a great company in and of itself, but it wasn't really a multiple million family home run right off the bat. So we took that learning and we were sitting with Dan Sullivan, who's my coach, with Strategic Coach, Lior Weinstein, who's another good friend, and Trav and Chad Willardson, who wrote Smart Not Spoiled. And we're like, okay, we have to get into banking. We have to get into the fintech banking space for this to actually work. And that's what created everything. It was like, oh, okay, it's a bank account with a debit card that completely rethinks how banking works, with a game that the kids play that connects to their bank account, that teaches them everything they need to know through fun, right? That's really how this thing got started. And one of my favorite things about it is that the kids actually see the flow of money. Okay. So here, let me ask you this question. Why do you have checking accounts? Everyone has checking accounts, right? Every bank in the world has a checking account. Why do we have checking accounts if no kid under 20 is ever going to write a check ever again?
Yeah, it's crazy.
It's so archaic. And how do you connect to, everyone's worried because we're going away from the dollar. How are kids going to touch and feel dollars and coins? So we created what we call the money machine. The money machine shows the flow through clouds of like where your revenue came from. It turns into coins that go through your pipes into your account from your gigs at home, or your matching, or your W-2 income, or your investment revenue. And then it gets automatically split up between your save, spend, and share jars digitally. So you can invest in any stocks or diversified portfolios. You can spend with your debit card and you can see it shake out where the money goes. All you do is you pull like a lever, like a Frankenstein power crank, and it shows you the whole month of income statement. It's brilliant. Like 60% of parents have already asked us if they could have that as their main bank account, not Chase anymore, right?
Yeah.
So it's a huge, and the share jar, right? You choose the percentage you want to go to save, spend, and share. Investing, spending, and share jar. The share jar is a tax deductible to any 501c3, all 10 million of them in North America. It's all right there with setting goals and progress bars, and your money automatically flows into those 3 accounts whenever you get money in the door. It's how money should be like seen coming in and out of your account. So we turn into a video, we turn into an animated GIF that families and kids can see for fun.
That's so awesome. Do you recommend a certain percentage for them? Like, is that part of the game? Like,
yeah,
you got money coming in, X goes here, X goes here, X goes here.
Why would we recommend it if the kids could play a game and learn it themselves? So we created a game where they meet certain people in the game. One of them never saved. One of them is a hoarder that never spends and they're miserable. And the other one is a miser that never shares. And so when you play when the kids, they realize, oh yeah, I need to make sure I'm saving for my car someday, or my college, or actually I need to save for something I'm never going to spend. I'm going to save for retirement. And so they learn about our saving, they learn about the spending and the sharing, and then they can choose based on talking to these characters what they think is the best thing for them. So traditionally what happens, I think what we're seeing so far is it's 30% save, 10% share, and 60% to spend. So if I make $10, 3 of it's getting invested and saved, 10% to whatever the local
Yeah.
church or charity, whatever I care about, and then 6% to my debit card so I can have it for spending. That's what we're seeing so far.
That's awesome, dude. That's absolutely amazing. And so they walk through this gamification.
Yep.
And it literally teaches them really not exactly what you're supposed to do, but the principles behind it. And they kind of come to their own conclusion instead of you going, hey, I'm Dave Ramsey. This percent goes here, this percent goes here, and this percent goes here. You're actually giving them.
That's right. Like in the first level, it's our save level in the game. And the game is called Windfall, right? You're helping free the people of Windfall from the greedy tyrant weasel. So you've got all these guardians. They look really cool. They're like Hollywood level art, like amazing characters. Yeah. And they're doing things like the money motto quiz, where they figure out their current relationship to money. Are you a hoarder? Are you a spender? Are you a consumer status person? Like, what's your relationship to money right now? Or do your parents fight about it and you don't even want to talk about it? You're fearful of money. That was the number one thing we found. Wow. Is that parents, we surveyed 1,000 parents, and the kids said, we don't want to talk about money because my parents fight about it, or they got divorced because of it, or my parents argue about money more than anything else, so I would rather just avoid it until I'm 18. That's the number one thing we found out by surveying 1,000 families. Wow. And parents don't realize that the kids are always watching. Now, you're not going to fight about sex in front of your kids. Right. You will talk about money. That's the problem, right? So we have to do this like whole versions of gaming to get kids to understand their relationship to money. Then they do their 3 jars. Then they do the subscription hunt where they help the otters save on their subscriptions. Then the otters show them how to do it in their own home. And then they save on groceries. And then they do the emergency water balloon fight where the one of the evil characters is throwing water balloons at their guardian gecko that's helping them through the level. And they have to choose which bucket the price of the emergency expenses, or else it hits them and soaks them and drowns the gecko. So then they learn about the price of 30 different emergency expenses. Okay. So we're teaching them all these basic things from start to finish. And then they go into the earn level. The earn level, they're doing yard sale flips. They're doing price sensitivity hunting with penguins. They're making snow cones at a profit in a polar bear's truck in this mini game to try to get as much profit as they can in 5 minutes to outrank their friends. Like there's just 100 of those. And every single one is very well crafted towards teaching a specific financial literacy trait. But if you just give a kid a book to do homework or a blog, they won't do it. It has to be fun.
Wow. Take me into the conceptual meetings, and when you're talking about this and how you're going to, what was that like to be in that room with you guys and the whiteboards and giant Post-it notes? That had to be just crazy.
It is probably the most fun I've ever had, because it's you kids. How do I tell this to you in a way that lands? Okay.
Let me say this to you. It sounds like Willy Wonka of money.
Yes.
Is what I hear. It sounds like the Willy Wonka of money is what this. It's exactly what I think when you're telling me this.
Yeah. Story. Like our tagline right now is the bank account that plays like a game. Like it's so fun. Like we even had the world's funnest bank account, and we crossed out funnest and wrote most fun because it was grammarly incorrect. So the whole thing is like, how much fun can we have while teaching these lifelong, like diehard important principles for their future? But let me tell you a quick story. So when Steve Jobs, I don't know if people know this, but when I was in elementary school, like in the 90s, right? We all had Macintosh computers at school. Like, have you ever asked yourself why? The reason why is because Steve Jobs and Apple wanted to see how kids were interacting with their computers. And they were watching me in first grade in 1990, whatever, one. They were watching me touch the screen. They were watching me try to drag the gorillas and the bananas to each other on the screen instead of using the keyboard or the mouse. They were watching me go, that's the most intuitive way, touching a screen. Oh, that's how you do it. That's what we need to build. Bam, you got the iPhone, you get the touch screen, this is the future, okay? The most brilliant people in the world do that, and they watch kids. So for myself, I'm a serial entrepreneur that solves the world's most important issues. with banking and financial literacy. It's not just a kid issue, it's a whole world issue, but we're going to solve it by helping kids first. And so now I am watching kids do banking. I'm watching kids on our account see the flow of money, and for the first time make a connection between money coming in and money going out, right? Because only 10% of the population ever even checks their monthly statements. So we have to show it in one thing. So we're just thinking about it from the kid perspective. Do you know how fun that is? Like, we're going back to like first principles, physics. What is the easiest, lowest lift, lowest energy required to get the most learning done and make it the most intuitive for kids? So that's how we're approaching everything. So we're not just building a bank for kids. We're building a bank for the future. Like, this is one of the most valuable opportunities I've ever seen, dude. And we have 20 patents to protect it so that everybody else has to come to our door. So this is important. It's important stuff. And I think it's going to change the way that parents and kids and adults see money forever.
So when's the parents game coming out?
The parents are part of the real game.
Yeah.
So the parents and kids are actually competing against each other. And by the time the kids complete their 100 levels of financial literacy, they graduate into what we call Gravy World. Gravy World is every life skill, every financial skill, every job certification skill in a game inside of everyone teaching everyone. So kids are teaching kids, thought leaders are teaching kids, parents are learning along with their kids. They're doing games inside of our world to learn these life skills. That's the way that people learn. So instead of TikTok, where it's all a bunch of dancing, like, this is actually a way for people to learn and play games and move the needle ahead and add to their resume. Parents are going to they're loving this just as much as their kids. I mean, they're competing. We have a game called The Price is Right that parents are playing their kids on. And it's basically a 1-minute mini game where we show 2 photos, just random photos of products between $3 and $30. That's it. And they have to choose the cheaper product as many times as they can. They get points for getting it right. They go down in points for getting it wrong. But it's like, okay, can you get, boom, bread, cheese, boom, underwear, Tide Pods, boom, whatever it would be, socks and milk. Like, and you have to choose the cheaper price. And there's 200 products. And then you rank against your family, you rank against your friends, you earn grits, which is our currency. Awesome. So parents play this game with their kids like 20 times in a row. They're playing this game dozens of times. And the kids are using almost machine learning to learn the value of all products that you buy every day at the store. And so now they're treating those things differently. They're starting to realize, oh, I'm going to take care of this nice shirt. Oh, I'm not going to like just blow all the milk. I'm not going to like, they treat things differently, right? So that's the whole point of Gravy Stack, is get that learning out there in a fun way.
So talk about the launch, talk about when it's going to be out. What does all that look like? So
it's an app that you can download most likely by the end of the year. November 15th is our MVP, minimum viable product date, with our families. We have a bunch of families that are in beta test right now. 500 families have tested this out. We've got thousands waiting for the MVP. And then we've got a couple 100,000 waiting for the public launch, most likely at the end of the year. Okay. Wow. And so the game itself is free to play for kids 8 and up. Okay. Maybe as young as 6, but 8 years old is the right age. 8 and up, it's free to play the game in the app. If you want to launch the debit card and the bank account and start doing home gigs instead of allowance and start like actually getting the core banking principles, it's like $5.99 a month, $5.99 a month for the family. And then we have a parent corner of all the parents to join, basically rock star parents helping each other with all the resources and interviews and the annual events and everything. And that's like $20 a month, like $19.95 a month. And so for a couple $100, the parents get to join our elite parent group, where they're just like getting all the rock star info. You know, my kid is 12. So what's everything I should be doing for my kid at 12 years old to make sure that they're ahead of the game? So we'll have those 3 different levels. So free, $5.99, and then $19.95 for the parents. And we launch it, end of the year, we should be live. We expect about 1 million kids on there in the next year and a half.
That's amazing. Best place to find you, Scott. Best place to find out about Gravy Stack.
Yeah, just go to gravystack.com. I'm Scott Donnell. That's my socials all over the place. You can find me on IG or LinkedIn or anything else. Scott Donnell. I'm Scott Donnell. And then, yeah, just follow Gravy Stack. And so if you join the wait list, you'll just get in the queue when we're live. So yeah, it's going to be super fun.
And they can do that at gravystack.com. That's where they can go to get.
Yep.
I'm thinking, I'm like, dude, I need this for my 14-year-old. Are you kidding me?
Yep.
Like,
And I'll
like
get
I'm
you,
ready-
I'll
like
get
I'm
you in
ready
the
to roll.
private. Ken, I'll
Yeah.
get you in the private beta with your kids. Just text me after. We'll get you guys testing out missions, and the families are getting a ton of value right now. Like in the first, I think our marketing hook is going to be the average family saves $550 in the first 2 weeks.
That's crazy.
That's what we're saving just in the subscription hunt alone. So it's like, it's way more valuable than the price. We just want to keep the price low enough so that like most families in America can get in quickly, because we don't want to just like price ourselves out of like, this is a massive problem that needs to be solved. So we built this for like, yeah, it's like the upper middle class family, but also for the inner city single mom can do this with her family. And it's like an automated roadmap for her kids.
Have you gotten any pushback?
No, honestly, everyone goes buck wild. We just won this most fundable company award in Malibu out of 4,000 companies because everyone loved it.
Wow.
There's no laser beam that hits us. It's not like we're political. We're not religious. We obviously we have political convictions. I'm a capitalist. We have, religious convictions. I'm a, born and raised Christian guy, but that's not the app. The app is like, let's get all of our families like learning smart money decisions. The only issue that I've seen is this debt conversation. It's like some people are polar opposites on the Dave Ramsey side, debt is evil, never touch it, or the Grant Cardone side, which is like debt's your best friend. If you're not using it, you're losing money.
Well, and I know Dave, I know Chris Brown, I know all the guys over there. The reality of it is when they bought their building, they went into debt like everybody else does when they bought their building. I mean, he didn't pay cash for a building.
So I think it's like you have to be smart about debt. So ultimately what I'm going to do is I'm going to have an interview between Dave Ramsey and Grant Cardone, and I'm going to record it. And I'm going to get two of my huge podcast buddies that have millions of reach with every podcast. And you should come too. And we'll just record the interview.
I would love to be there.
And everybody records it live. I'll moderate it and everybody launches on their platforms. And we just have a huge like live interview with those two on a debate. I think that would be unbelievable. And I should moderate because I'm the one that like knows how kids learn. So I want the two of them to talk about families and kids in the future and how we actually get this out. So I think that's the biggest debate is the thing about debt.
Well, let me know what I can do to help you put that together.
Okay. Will do.
I'd love to text Uncle G and say, hey, if I got you on a call with Dave, would you do that? Grant did. He'd be fired up.
I think Grant would be down. We'll see what Dave says. I would love to see if he'd do it.
He'd be fired up. Well, yeah. Let me know if you need somebody to reach out. I'd love to reach out and possibly make that happen. That would be that would be really, really cool.
Wouldn't it be awesome?
Dude, that would be absolutely amazing. Scott Donnell, guys, Gravy Stack. This guy thinks at a different level. He just operates. The one thing I love about you, dude, is you have such a life-giving presence about you. Like your countenance is so cool. Like you're one of those guys. There's two types of people: thermometers and thermostats. Thermometers gauge the temperature of a room. Thermostats have the ability to change the temperature and the climate in any room that they walk in. You're one of those dudes. And, wow. And you do it really from the perspective of what can I do to add value to people? Like it's not, you can tell it's not about you or what you're getting out of it. It really is, how can I make the biggest impact and difference in the world through what God's put on the inside of me?
Amen. Thank you, my friend. That's a huge compliment. I appreciate it.
That's it, dude. Guys, gravystack.com. Go check my guy out. I'm Scott Donnell on Instagram. Man, I'm super excited about this, dude. I am super pumped. Guys, listen, if this podcast has helped you today, this conversation, if you would, hit that subscribe button. Also, if you're listening to this, snap a screenshot on your iPhone, Android, whatever. Share it on your Instagram story. We will reshare that, give you a little love from our audience as well. And again, until next time, listen, we are crazy passionate about helping business leaders build confidence, gain clarity, and create community. Scott, thanks for being a part today, man.
Thanks, everybody. Appreciate it.